One, and welcome back to Zombie Squad Cast. In this episode, I have Greg Townsend, and Greg's worked with me on a number of those crime shows. He's played cops and FBI agents, and you were in one show. You were in one film that I was a first AD on, and I know we also crossed paths on a number of those crime shows on ID. So, without further ado, Greg, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you've been up to and how you've been dealing with this past 4 crazy months.
All right. First of all, I just want to say thanks for having me. It's a great thanks for having me on. So obviously, I'm Greg Townsend, and I'm from the Maryland area. I'm an actor, and I've been acting for about 4 or 5 years now. So like you said, we crossed paths, and it's been a great experience, kind of getting my foot wet, kind of in the entertainment industry. So right now I've been training, just focusing on learning my craft. So I've been taking some classes. I've been dealing with some workshops, reading a lot of acting books as well. So it's been just trying to hone my craft, and once this whole COVID-19 thing kind of goes away, I can kind of focus on, putting my next level foot forward. I guess you can say that as well. So yeah. It's just been an amazing experience, and we worked on the film, a couple films. So it's good that we have our own community in this area, as far as all of us collaboratives, all working together for one goal, trying to take our careers to the next level.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, I think we've been blessed with a unique area to where there is a film and TV community here, and plenty of those ID crime shows, a bunch of independents in the Baltimore area. Richmond's really starting to blow up.
Exactly.
And DC, obviously, big productions always come out to DC, and we might get lucky to have a like a walk-on role or a day player role in something like Wonder Woman, or I remember years ago I worked on National Treasure 2, and
oh wow,
and there was something else, and but there's a lot of political stuff. There's always the political campaign stuff,
always.
And so for me, not only am I an actor, I'm also do crew work, so I get my hands on a lot of PSAs, a lot of political stuff, a lot of corporate and industrial stuff in the DC area. So it's unique. It's a unique film and TV market here, where it's kind of niche. Baltimore's
right.
Baltimore's known for like urban and horror pieces. Rich out in Richmond, in Virginia, they do a lot of the historical stuff and Revolutionary War and Civil War type stuff out there in Virginia. And then setting up base maybe in Richmond or Woodbridge, or I forgot the Newport News, where it's city,
it's all spread out.
It's all spread out. But so with that being said, how would you say you've been impacted these past few months, 4 months, with the whole current state of affairs?
So it's kind of taking me on like an emotional roller coaster, because as an actor, you have your pockets where it's like a roller coaster where you just consistently working for a certain period of time, and then you have your downtime, and so you have those peaks and valleys. And this caught me right when I was in my mid stride. So I was starting to book more, short films, independent films, bigger productions. And so I was meeting more people. So because this business is all about networking. I mean, it's all about connections, building relationships with everybody. And so it kind of really affected me that way. But I look at it as an opportunity to kind of focus in on my craft and learn more about the craft, and not just the craft, learn more about the business of the Taft-Hartley rule, and learning how to become union and working with, knowing when to find the right agent manager. So I'm taking this time now to figure that out. But it's really affected because I think a lot of those, especially when it comes to auditioning, we like to go in the room and they have the reader and you can kind of use the reader and give them that emotion that you're used to having. And now with the Zoom, which a lot of things are happening on Zoom, it's kind of hard to kind of connect as far as working with the reader and stuff like that. So this could be the norm, or it may push us back to self-tapes, which, it could be a good thing and a bad thing as far as self-tape, that you can kind of take the time that you need to make sure you put the best product forward before you send it off. So it kind of takes the stress off of going into the room.
Yeah. And I've done quite a bit of self-submits, and so I would record it on my laptop. I would record it on my webcam, in the house, and I'd be able to edit it. I would do, 40 takes, and I would just keep going through it, and it would only take me 15, 20 minutes. I'd read the script a little bit. I might even set up a teleprompter, and because if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? So,
right.
So I might have like little Post-it notes, but near the webcam or on the monitor, and go through it 5-6 times. And of course I would send them the best one, and I might cut out little snippets of the best one and make it a little bit more smooth. And maybe they don't notice the edits. And there've been times that I booked gigs that way.
Right.
And being able to send self-submits from home, I can knock out, 4 times as many auditions, just doing self-submits from home than it is driving here and driving back and then driving there, driving to 2 places, spending 4 hours, 5 hours on the road out during the day. And I lost a whole day. Whereas I can spend 1 or 2 hours at home and I'm still with the wife and kid. I can maybe work on some other projects or book gigs, because we're also on casting networks and Backstage and Dragon Connects and all these other casting sites. And so I spend 2 hours doing self-submits for 4 times as many auditions, and then spend the rest of those 3 hours I would have been on the road applying to more gigs online.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like more like it's starting to shift as far as us going into the room, because like you just said, I used to get on catch a train to catch a bus 4 hours to New York just to sit in a room for 15 minutes and then got to take that bus 4 hours back in the train. So you do, like you said, you really waste the whole day, and sitting at home gives you more opportunities to kind of work on other things. So it's a good thing, and it has its ups and downs, because you want to have that face-to-face, meeting with the casting director, so they can really get your essence and get and get your energy, so they know, you may not be right for this, but I got something else that you're right for. So it's just all about building those connections.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, I'm a slightly different beast, where I also do crew work, and I can do editing, and I can do audio work, and I can I can do prep work for films. I can do pre-production and scheduling and budgeting and that sort from home or on a laptop. And so for me, so it's this fine balance between, absolutely, if I actually go to that audition room and I'm sitting face to face in front of this person, I'm going to read differently than it is if I'm just relaxed. I'm in a comfort zone at home. But if I get outside that comfort zone and then they start pulling strings and pushing my buttons, which gets something different out of that audition. But again, for me, it's like I got to maximize every minute out of my day, to build my website, or to build my production company, networking, re-editing my production reel, re-editing my acting reel, and not to mention the family stuff as well. But there might be some editing projects that I have to do, some passion projects. And so again, just spending a couple hours on twice as many self-submit auditions, and then and then 4 hours on this project, and then 4 hours on booking more gigs, like sending my resume, my headshot, or my production resume out, and trying to book this gig, that gig, this gig, that gig.
Right.
And
it's all a mindset. Well, you're a jack of all trades, so you kind of have your foot kind of in everything, or your hand, I would say, in everything. So it also relieves like the stress, like, because we all know as actors and stuff, when we go into the room, we already kind of, you know, and you got a table full of everybody, all these different people from different departments, you know, they want you to put your best foot forward, but you know, it's still like a little stressful. But if you're prepared, then you go in there and know it, and you do your work. But you know, I was taught, you know, when you leave the audition room, you kind of just tear your sides up and throw them in the trash. Because if you take them with you, then you'll just reiterate and you'll go over it and then you'll stress out. It takes the stress. So I like to self-submit because you can self-submit that and minimize your screen and then continue to book. It takes that kind of that stress off of you.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
Which is a big thing when it comes to, you know, especially working in this industry, because it's you're gonna hear no a lot, but you know, that's just something that you just got to deal with. But if you keep going and keep grinding, you'll just get more yeses and you'll keep, you know, learning. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you know, for me personally, it's just about maximizing every minute, every hour, every minute, every second out of the day. And especially and especially in the last 4 months, I think I told you, me and the wife brought home a kid.
Right.
And
congratulations.
So now there's that there's that balancing juggling act of, you know, she'll you know, take them for certain times, and then we'll both have them, and then I'll take them, and she'll take a nap, and then I need some, you know, me time, or I need some time to work on something. And so now that's a whole new slot of time. And I know for a lot of people, this shelter in place quarantine lifestyle has not been good. But for me, I was able to book a number of gigs where I was able to work from home, a lot of live streaming, so, you know, similar to this podcast,
right.
And then maximize my free time on top of that with, you know, passion projects, daddy time, husband and daddy time, you know. Yeah. So well, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it gives everybody's situation is different, but for you, as far as, you know, dealing with, you know, your home life and your other projects and your other interests, this is a perfect time for you, like you said, to maximize, to work on other things. You know, it's as far as us, man, it's because, you know, we work when we're on set. So when the whole set and everything shuts down, people get depressed and they feel like, you know, man, I haven't been working. But like you said, it's all about maximizing your time. So right now we're not on film. Studios are trying to work on how they're going to open back up. So this is the opportunity for us to maybe, you know, get some scenes and work on them, or, you know, build or work on your online profiles, you know, get new headshots, which I got to get next week anyway, but get new tools that you can use to, you know, make your profile stand out more and know how to submit your demo reels and everything. So it's just, it gives you opportunity to kind of step back and just, all right, let me make sure when we do open back up that I have everything that's updated as far as everything I need to submit. You know, I have all my thank you cards, I have my headshots ready to go, you know, talk to your managers, your agents and everything. So it's just you got to take it with kind of like this is an opportunity for me to build myself to grow, because when we open back up, everything's gonna be moving fast, and if you're not ready to move, you could kind of get lost in the shuffle as far as not being prepared.
Yeah, like you said, you're delving into the virtual acting classes, that the coachings and the Zoom acting tutorials and building your repertoire, building your expertise. And because when the floodgates open, people are going to be like, listen, we've been out of production. And again, based on what I've seen in the news, there's a whole new even more infectious version of the coronavirus that was in Europe, and it's coming over here in the US now. It's a whole new infectious version of it. Doesn't make you any more sicker. It's just easier to catch now.
Right.
And so this quarantine is not going to end in March of 2021. It's not. And so after, I think me personally, you know, me and a number of other guests have talked about, it's definitely going to be March 2022. And I always add a year. I always multiply everything. At the lowest, I multiply everything by 1.5. So
Right.
it's definitely going to be 2 years. So I'm looking at March 2023 when I'm going to start thinking floodgates are opening. And you know, production companies are going to be like, we have not shot jack shit in a year and a half. Who's got something? Who's got something? I mean, we had all this stuff on the back burner. We're like, you know, Marvel Studios luckily finished Loki, WandaVision. I'm a big Marvel fan. So
yeah, the television series, those should be coming soon. The Winter Soldier and the Falcon.
Right.
Yeah.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, WandaVision. I believe they finished principal photography. So, you know, luckily those are in the can. Those are going to get streamed out on Disney Plus. But there's a lot of productions that got halted halfway through.
Big time.
And now they're kind of like delving back in, but then it's taking twice as long because of all the extra you know, precautions that they have to take. But
it's crazy because, like you said about productions, it's now you got to say, okay, because we got so many crew members that we need, so it's going to be hard to kind of, you know, limit the personnel on each set, or just have different times, or how you're going to separate. There is no like what precautions, like what's the steps that we need to take to reopen it.
right.
You know, as far as shooting films and productions, because right now it's just they just don't know. I've been talking to cast directors. They thinking this Zoom is going to be like the norm, and self-submits, that's going to be the norm. I mean, they got some stuff there that like a lot of studios are getting ready to shoot or trying to, but you just don't know. Like you said, they're already talking about, you know, another virus and the second wave. We just had so many cases, you know, in Florida and Texas and Arizona, those states. So this is a tough time right now. But, you know, if we just all got to do our part. That's all I can say. We just all got to do our part.
Yeah, we do our part. But I think when these floodgates open, and like I said, my prediction is mid to late 2022, if not early 2023. But they're going to be begging for content. They're going to be begging for scripts. They're going to be begging for actors and crew. They're going to want to make up, because not only can they finish or start what they were going to start, but they're going to be like, we have not released anything. They might start running out of stuff to release. Right.
Because if you look at, they're losing so much revenue. They're spending so much, especially on Marvel films, like Marvel stuff. They're spending so much money on these films, and especially with the movie theaters being shut down, or they're limiting how many people they're going to have and stuff like that. They're not going to recoup that revenue back, so they're pushing a lot of they're pushing a lot of release days back. And now they're releasing. They just had a couple of releases on. They had it not on. Is it on demand? They released it on like the cable networks. They had it where you can buy it on demand.
Yeah.
Instead of going to a movie theater. So I hope that doesn't, you know, take away from the actual time of going to the movie theaters.
I mean, that's not going to go away. That's not going to be a thing for a couple of years.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But you know what I'm excited about is that drive-in movie theaters are definitely going to be a huge thing coming back. Huge thing, because you can stay in your car. You know, you can social distance. You and the family can stay in the car. You just pull into a slot. You pay your ticket maybe on an app on your phone, you know, through Fandango, but at a drive-in, and you pay for your ticket, and then you scan it, you know, roll the window down like this much, scan it on a blip. Somebody walks around, has got a mask and gloves, and just scans your phone or whatever, and you pull into your lot, and you watch the movie that way. Yeah, and maybe there's another app you got to download, and that can be the speaker that you hook into your Bluetooth or something. Or but like the olden drive-ins had these two speaker booths, one on the driver's side, one on the passenger side, and there was these two speakers. They might still do that, but people might not want to roll down their windows, and so they gotta. So if they tap the audio into an app, and then you download the app on your phone, but then you can play music from your phone on the Bluetooth in your car, and it all just there. Hopefully there won't be a delay, but But, you know, there's always a delay when it comes to like syncing this or syncing that together. But I think drive-in theaters are coming back in a major, major way, because that's a way for people to go out and experience something that I remember. I think I was like maybe 2 or 3 or 4, and I saw The Empire Strikes Back at a drive-in, I believe. I think my parents took me back in like 80, 82, 83.
Wow,
I was like,
yeah.
I remember specifically seeing Lando Calrissian, Billy D. Williams on that big screen at a drive-in. So I remember, I'm pretty sure it was Empire at a drive-in, and that was the last time. And I know from what I understand, there's a drive-in, somewhere around Richmond or something, but that's going to be a big thing coming back.
I think so.
And I think it's going to be like this retro thing, because everybody's into like retro stuff, 80s and 90s things. So we're almost forced to bring back that kind of retro thing, and then hopefully it will stay. People will get back into that like they were in the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big thing. Well, this is the time now for innovation, as far as how can we do certain things. And me myself, I've never experienced the drive-through, but you see pictures and you see old movies and how they used to do it and stuff. So I think it would be a nice addition to what we already have. It gives people a different option if they don't want to go to an actual movie theater. As long as they get that movie going experience, that's the whole key with it. So I'm excited to see how we go forward with this, because you can't take away. I mean, yes, you can watch it at home, but it's not the same as a family outing, and you're going to see a movie that's just released on a real huge big screen.
Yeah,
and getting that great movie going experience. That's the main thing I like about it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, man. Well, also, how would you say you've been impacted personally? Anything that comes to mind, personally, that how you've been impacted by this?
So for when this whole COVID-19 virus came out, we would hear from different, outlets on what to do and what not to do. But I really didn't kind of even I paid attention, but I really didn't kind of, understand it fully. And I just kind of brush it off. Oh, it's just something else they trying to come up with and stuff like that. I didn't realize how strong this virus was until it kind of hit close to home. It kind of, I had 5 family members that came down with it. And just talking to them and seeing them in the hospital, and my little cousin got it. She's not even 1 yet. So that scary, it got so scary. She's doing fine. Everybody's doing fine, by the way, but it's this thing is serious. And when they say, protect yourself and make sure you have your gloves and your mask on, it's serious, because for a minute there, I have my grandmother had caught it, and she's up in her, almost 90. So it's and they say, people up in age, that have lower immune systems, they, it can turn fatal real bad.
Yeah.
So it really had worried me. I was really it kind of, to myself for a while, I was just kind of just nervous. I didn't know what to believe. But now it's just we really have to do our part. And I see people now that's just, out, not wearing a mask and sitting real close to people, and they just don't care. I mean, in my opinion, but when this thing has hit close to you and it get close family members, and you can just see these people, coughing and struggling to breathe, and dealing with the hospitals and stuff like that. It's a serious thing, man, and it's nothing to play with. So I advise everybody out there, just do your part and just stay safe. If you can stay at home, stay at home. There's no reason for you to be out.
Yeah, and yeah, I've been reading a lot about a lot of folks think it's it's not as bad as it is. The government, maybe they're conspiracy theorists, maybe they're just morons. I mean, who knows? But but everyone's I'm not wearing a mask. This thing isn't as bad as they say it is. And okay, you can believe that. You can think that. But for everybody else around you, wear a mask anyway, or just don't go outside. But do me a favor, wear a mask. Because I've said that to people. I said, if you don't mind, could you please wear a mask? And they're like, and they'll give me their story, and they'll give me they'll give me their pitch, and I'm like, I get that, but this is for me. This is for me. This is for my wife. This is for my kid, because I got to go home and I don't want to give them something that you might have given me. You don't believe
Exactly.
it. If you don't believe it in it, that's fine. But let's look at it. You know, let's look at this as almost like freedom of religion. I'm not going to get on somebody's case about being Jewish versus Christian versus Islam versus Muslim versus Buddhist. Okay, you believe what you want to believe. I believe what I would believe. But let's both drive on the right side of the road, wear seatbelts, obey traffic signs and traffic lights and speed limits. So you can believe what you want to believe about your immune system versus mine, and what might be real and what might not be real. But would you mind wearing a mask? Because I'm wearing a mask, and that way, when I go home, you know, I don't have something on my shirt or on my hands, and then I transmit it to my 4-month-old or my wife, you know, right. so on and so forth. It's like it's not just you, it's like everybody else around you.
Yeah, it's just for safety, because I know a lot, like you said, people have their own ideas, but it's just in order for us to kind of get through this and move forward, if we just all just can kind of come together. I know with everything political that's going on right now, if we could just all just okay, everybody, let's just do this, protect ourselves, because it's no reason why this virus did not start here, but we have the most cases. A lot of other countries their cases are just diminishing.
Yeah. And
we are just continue to grow. I mean, I don't get it.
I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of the civil unrest, and I think what America is standing up for right now is very important, and I think it's very powerful. I think it's very, groundbreaking. The steps this country is taking, the people anyway, are taking to unite and demand change, demand better this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
The problem is, the reason why a lot of the cases have been rising is because a lot of the protesters and the marchers and the ralliers and the demonstrators are not freaking wearing masks.
Yeah.
They all got together. They're not social distancing. How do you do a 6 feet apart march or rally? I mean, I'm sure they could. It's just something of that nature. I don't think it works 6 feet apart. So, a study came out, a medical study came out, and a lot of the major cities where a lot of the protests, rallies, riots, demonstrations, and marches were, the cases skyrocketed. And now it's, quadrupled, if not quintupled in our country. And so, and so, like I said, it's so beyond important what we're doing as a society to like push forward this change and push forward these new ideals. This whole progressive movement is drastically important, but at the same time, you have to do it a smart, safe, conscientious way.
Exactly. We all have to do our part, and you're right. And then it comes down to where some states were open and some states were shut down. So everybody would flock. I mean, I remember when maybe a couple of weeks ago when Miami was like the hot spot. Everybody was flying to Miami and they were partying, and nobody wore their masks. And I was just looking at people on TV. I was like, this is not it. This is not it. And now you go down there and you party. Now you contract the virus. Now you got to get back on the airplane.
Yep.
And still don't wear a mask, or maybe wear a mask and then come back home and spread it to wherever you're from.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And a lot of and even back to the protests, a lot of these protesters, these organizers and the demonstrators are going to different cities, to speak out and to demonstrate in different major cities. And so they're bouncing from city to city to city. Or, for example, I'm sure a lot of the people that went to DC with all the demonstrations and marches in DC, I'm sure a lot of these people are from Baltimore, Richmond, somewhere in Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, maybe Philly, West Virginia, and maybe even New York, maybe Jersey and New York. And they all came to DC because DC was like the biggest.
Yeah, it was the background. Yeah.
With the exception of obviously Minneapolis was, you know, the main hotbed for what had recently happened in the last month. But DC, everybody came to DC. Everybody, but everybody that came from DC is not from DC. They're DC, Maryland, Virginia, Delaware,
everywhere,
Pennsylvania. I mean, probably Jersey and New York too. And so, and then they're going back home.
Mm-hmm.
And
Taking
now,
right back with you.
Yeah, because it's as simple as gloves and a mask.
That's it.
And so, you know, I was out there and I did see quite a few people, you know, mask walks, some people walking around with hand sanitizer, just, you know, offering hand sanitizer to everybody because they were all united. They were all working together.
Right.
But but just as many people with masks I saw without.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, we're still in the middle of a pandemic.
I don't get it. And then they're getting, you see all these protesters towards the states and the governors to reopen, but we're all not doing the part. And now we're putting so much stress on our frontline workers, people, you know, our nurses and doctors, because they can't even catch a break, because the moment they do have a little downtime as far as, you know, caring people and making sure everybody's COVID free, more and more cases are flocking to these hospitals. And now the hospitals are overcrowded.
Right.
Some of the biggest hospitals in the country are overcrowded because people are not doing their part, and they just still going out now wearing masks and going to big crowds. And it's mind blowing. It seems like we're never going to get through this if we all don't do the right thing.
Right. And yeah, so this meme, let me see if I can bring up this meme. So like there was this meme popped up on the internet, and I thought it kind of spoke. Let me see if I can get this. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's like somebody made mention that maybe it's because of all the seltzer beers everybody's drinking.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everything's going to crap. but here, oh, never mind. I can't even show it. So it's because that's not working. But yeah, the meme said, all I'm saying is none of this stuff. Hold on, I'll just go back to the name of it. All I'm saying is that the world was fine until y'all started drinking them seltzer beers. I mean, how much stuff have we had in the last year? I mean, this, you know, the civil unrest, the quarantine, and there was and there was something like 6 months to 9 months ago.
Then we had the people dying over Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Oh yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, so I'm just like, man, you know, take 2020 and ball it up and just throw it away. Just take 2020 is rough, man.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, for me, it's one of the greatest years. You know, my son was born, but but man, damn, dude, like, cut me some slack here, man.
Yeah, but, they said, I forgot one meme that said, you know, we're gonna look back, it's gonna be 2030, and your kids gonna be asking you, you know, hey, how come you never talk about 2020? And the first thing we're gonna do is flick a cigarette and say, man, I got something to tell you. You know, it's just, you know, you just don't know the half of it. You know, we're gonna skip it 2020. It's wow.
Well, every generation has it. I mean, I think my mother and father's generation had Cold War and Vietnam, and my grandfather's generation. I think my grandfather's generation had the Depression era. His grandfather, my great grandfather had, I think, the Spanish flu.
Yeah, that was big early.
So yeah, I think every generation just has something. I mean, this generation, I mean, Iraq and Afghanistan, 9/11 toppled with quarantine and COVID and
man, we had I remember we had the West Nile virus and SARS and all these. Oh my gosh, man, we just we got to do our part. But this I don't know what's going on today. It's, as far as, protesting and everything, and and now it feels like the companies are standing behind the protests and saying, listen, if you're not going to support this cause, we don't, we're going to pull our sponsorship from from your team, and we're going to pull our dollars. So it's just showing how strong this country can be if we all just come together, and support one another.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Kaepernick was criticized about doing what he was doing 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so now, it's come to what we're going through now, and everyone's like, why can't we just do it peacefully? Why can't we just do it peacefully? And it's like, hey, Kaepernick was trying to do it peacefully 3 years ago.
Exactly. So
a lot of people were trying to do it peacefully. Shit. I mean, 2011, 2012. So
it's just like when you just been like oppressed and beat on for so long, you can only take for so much. So I understand both sides when they say, listen, let's don't tear up our own neighborhoods. This is all we got, and everything. But on the other side, it's like, we built these neighborhoods, we helped build this country, and we still don't have a fair fight in the game. So certain companies deserve to get tore down. So it's just, it's a bunch of mess. I mean, it's a bunch of things going on right now, and it's just leaving everybody uneasy right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a number of things that I'll never truly understand, or I can never truly sympathize with, because I haven't experienced a specific this, that, the other. Mm-hmm. But and not to take away from what the American people right now are trying to get across, but maybe there's this one little element of people being a lot of the American public has been cooped up, and I think and that might be an element where it was cabin fever. I'm not trying to take away from the cause, but I think a lot of it has to do with just, it's one thing after another on top of it, to where it's to a boiling point. It's what is that called, where it just keeps boiling to where it pops. I can't remember. It's a type of a bomb. Mm-hmm. Pressure cooker, yeah. And a pressure cooker, but it's a pressure cooker sealed off, and it's just one thing after another until it finally just like explodes.
Right.
And there's a lot of elements that just everyone refuses to accept, or to look into, or to recognize. And so finally it's just starting to topple over.
Cabin fever could be a part of it, and it's just, people feel like they could just, say whatever, do whatever they want, and there's no consequences right now. So it's just, we just gotta, be here for one another and just understand each other. I think that's the main thing. Just you may not agree, we both may not agree on certain things, but just understand where I'm coming from, and I understand where you come from. If we can have a mutual understanding, then I think things can kind of move forward as far as, ideals and everything and like that. It's just, let's just understand, instead of just, starting off with, well, no, you're wrong. Well, no, you're wrong. If we all just have just one common agreement, okay, let's just agree to disagree, or I understand where you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from. Because, it's a lot.
Well, I think the biggest problem is people's acceptance of a phrase like Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Okay. When my brother once told me that the person that came up with the phrase Black Lives Matter is brilliant, because you can't have a rebuttal to that without being an asshole, without coming off racist. It's right. But the whole point behind Black Lives Matter is that the view of it is that Black people feel like Black lives were viewed as that they don't matter.
Mm.
I'm screwing all this up. All right, let me start over. So when someone says Black Lives Matter and someone else says all lives matter, it's like this. Okay, I come running out of my house. My house is on fire. I come running out of my house. Please help me. My house is on fire. My neighbor says, well, what about my house? It's like, bro, that's not the point. Your house is not on fire.
Right.
My house is on fire. Come help me. But what about my house? Your house is across the street, bro. Your house is not going to get affected in any way. My house is on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I need help with my house. My house is on fire. Well, what about my house?
Shouldn't all houses matter? Basically, yeah. All houses, yeah.
Your house is fine right now.
Right.
My house is on fire. So when people say Black Lives Matter, obviously all lives matter. No one's saying all lives.
Right. We all know that. Yeah.
But many could say that Black lives haven't mattered for a while. Now, if you take a look at all lives matter as a big puzzle piece with all sorts of the different pieces like blue lives and white lives and Asian lives and Hispanic lives and Latino lives and Asian lives, Black lives, all lives doesn't matter if the Black Lives Matter piece is not in there.
Mm-hmm.
Then the all lives matter is not complete and all lives don't matter because Black lives hasn't mattered. So that is the whole message behind Black Lives Matter. And
when people,
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to reiterate. It's just for a long time we just felt like we're just getting the short end of the stick. You know, it's hard for us to get access to capital. We don't, it's hard for us to do certain things, and we can't move up. Education wise, we're not afforded the same opportunity. So, that creates, they take the fathers out the household, half of them in jail, half of them are dead because they have no other opportunities. They feel like they have no other opportunities where to go out here and find any means to put food on their family's table. So with this, so now you got kids growing out without fathers. So now they have no access to show them other ways to get out their community or to grow. So now they're feeling nowhere to belong. So now they see kids on the corner, on the block, and they're selling drugs and they're doing this. They're bonding with them and they're going down the wrong path. So the cycle just continues and continues. It's going to take somebody to kind of get out and to show these kids, okay, here's how I did it. Let me put you on the right path to do this. But it's just like we just product of our own environment because we don't have the same opportunities as everybody. So that's what they're saying. Listen, we know, people work hard for their living. We know people, went to school to become doctors. We know everybody everybody worked hard for what they had. We get that. All we ask for is we have the same opportunities of education so we can work hard and go to school for 12 years like you went to school and go to hard for 12 years. Just have the same opportunity. That's what we're feeling. So it's a whole background with that where it comes to, Black lives don't matter. We just haven't been afforded the same opportunity, So that's a big thing. But yeah, man, it's rough. It's rough right now. It's a rough time, but I feel like, not just the US, just seeing other countries, stand up for us, as far as stand with us on Black Lives Matter and seeing everybody, show their support is a good thing. And showing companies, showing their support, and I hope this is the start of things starting to change where it seems more equality. But you're gonna have your people to fight back on it. But that's hopefully as time goes on, it will start to change. And that's what we're hoping on.
Yeah, I mean, There's a lot of changes been made in the last month.
Yeah, big time.
There's a new headline every day. You know, someone's changing this flag, someone's changing the name of state. The Redskins are discussing it. The Redskins are discussing the name change finally.
It's the biggest news in sports right now. Besides the NBA, it's huge. I mean, soon hopefully they'll get a name change. We'll see. Because Nike already pulled the merchandise.
Oh yeah.
So you can't even buy any gear.
Okay.
So
yeah. Maybe they won't suck.
Whew, tell me about it. Tell me about it. I've been a Redskins fan my whole life. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. These last 2 years.
So before we jump into Skins, so we're going into a lighter note now. So it was pretty serious and that
it got very deep,
very enlightful. But yeah, Skins now. The being a Skins fan, maybe being a Sentinels fan, or what do they call? What are they going to call it? The Senators or the something like that?
Warriors or something like that. I heard the Warriors name. I heard Senators. I heard a bunch of things. I guess Snyder is working on, dealing with it. But for a long time he fought it, but now your sponsors are starting to pull away. So now when you attack the money, now it's, it's hurting his bottom line. So he has no other option right now.
Yeah. Well, I personally, honestly, I couldn't care less. I understand why the title, I get it, that the title's offensive. And if it offends somebody, then you should dump it.
Right.
I mean, I don't hold. It's going to be the same team. It's going to be Washington whatever's.
Right.
And they're probably still going to suck, and we're going to just still hate our own team. Right. The wife's a Dallas fan. Where they come from, I don't know, but she's a Dallas fan, and so because I've said, hey, there's gonna be a couple of things that I want the kid to do. She goes, okay, I'll make a deal with you. We raise him as a Dallas fan. And I say, God, well, all right, fine. We raise him as a Dallas fan. It's funny. The wife's Jewish, and so when we were dating, it was finally time for her for us to meet each other's families and stuff like that. And so she said to me, is your family going to mind? Is your family going to have issues with me being Jewish? I said, no, not Jewish. They're not going to care that you're Jewish at all. But being a Dallas fan, on the other hand, that's going to be.
Yeah, that's the topic.
Yeah. But man, I mean, I'm glad. It's a good thing that the Skins are changing their name. That's great. I mean, I don't hold any, bond to that name. Like some people like, oh, we can't let that go. And it's been the name for God knows how long. And I'm like, yeah, I know that's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah. It's yeah, I know.
There's army bases with Confederate leaders' names on it. Well, it's been that way forever. I know that's the problem.
That's exactly the problem. These people fought against what we're trying to do.
Yeah. So I mean, it's time for a change. I mean, again, it is. See, what people don't seem to understand is that England and France are like, I don't know how many thousands of years old, but the U.S. I think is still only somewhere between 400 and 500 years old. It's still a very young new country. It's still progressing. Oh no, we have this history. I'm like, yeah, we have this history that we need to learn from, and we need to adapt and overcome and change and progress and evolve, because it's like this is like old shit that needs to just we need to change our ways, and we need to like better ourselves and not just stick with these. I mean, I don't even want to get into that whole thing. Well, we can, but like anything Confederate is basically the symbol of a traitor.
Yeah, because you were fighting against to keep, trying to keep slaves.
Well, not only that, on top of the slavery, the Confederacy betrayed the Union. They shot first. They wanted to separate from the North on one basis and one basis only, to keep slaves. They are traitors, and they are slave owners.
But we want to keep their statues up.
So
that's what I said. Lack of, people just gotta have, do their homework.
Yeah.
Let's take these statues down, and maybe the next 40, 50 years, we're gonna have new statues of great people.
Now in DC, they were going after this statue of Lafayette. Now, I honestly, I don't know too much specifics of the history of Lafayette, except I know he was a French revolutionary that helped us with the U.S.'s with the American colonists' revolution against the British.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that qualifies under the same boat as the Confederacy. However, yeah, there was in Fredericksburg, Virginia, downtown Fredericksburg, Virginia, there was a concrete block in downtown, which is known as a slave block, and there's a loop in it, and it was an auction block for slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And so they dug that up, and they tore it up and they got rid of it. And I think, well, yeah, I think there needs to be signs of history of what not to do again.
Right. And
so a statue, a monument to a Confederate leader should get torn down.
Yes.
But there should be, but this slave block is a reminder of what never to do again. Now they tore it up and it's gone. In 100 years and 200 years and 300 years, we still need some sort of reminder of what to never do again. But as far as idolizing and monumenting Confederate leaders, slave owners, those should get torn down. Those should be replaced with something else. But that slave block, I disagree. That slave block should stay, and that should remain this blemish, if you will, of something for us to never ever return to. But I don't know.
I get your point. It's like when you disobey your parents and you go outside and you get hurt. It's like a stamp. It's like a reminder.
Yeah.
This is what happened years ago.
Yes.
Right.
This happened and we can never get back to it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's a stain on it, but I get it, but as we're evolving, hopefully 40, 50 years down the road, we want slavery to be like, what? That happened when? So hopefully it won't even be a thought. That's what I hope. Yeah. It won't even be a thought. I mean, we're never going to forget, but that's I don't know.
I mean, they're discussing changing all the army bases with Confederate leader names to Union leader names or present leader names. Love the idea.
Yeah, it makes no sense to have Confederate leaders.
Yeah, and they're taking down these Confederate statues. I love it, but there needs to be something to remind us of what to never return to, if that makes sense. But
no, I get you. I get what you're saying. I get you.
But from what I understand, this protest walked in and just started chopping away, dug it up, and took it away.
Yeah, it's serious now. It's serious. I mean, everything. If it's not, if it's something bad from the past, or if it's has to do anything with their Confederate flag, they turn it down. So yeah, good. Man.
Well, overall, yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
We're progressing. We're evolving, and I love it. So, lighter note: is there are there some films or some series you've been binge watching? Some books you've been reading that helped you get through this? Really stood out? Inspired you, or just helped you just take your mind off things?
Well, I'm a fan of the art, so I love filmmaking. I love films. I love television. So right now, I'm currently watching Snowfall on FX.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I'm currently watching that series. A lot of people have been talking about how good it was. You know, it's shot in the 80s. I love that time period. And also, I recently saw Casablanca for the first time. Old film, black and white. So with Humphrey Bogart,
okay.
yeah, Humphrey Bogart. So I've been catching myself watching a lot of black and whites. You know, Cat on the High Tin Roof, and I've been watching a lot of these older films. They were just great storytelling. I mean, great characters. I love stories that, you know, you feel for the character. They could be a bad character or they could be a good character, but you understand why they're doing these things. There is just no not reason for it. They have you understand and you feel for them why they just going about it the wrong way. But it's some right now with these new streaming platforms, it's becoming a great wave for a lot of great independent filmmakers to get their products out into the world. As far as because a while we used to just have the film festivals. Now we got, you know, you could do it, post it on YouTube. You can, you know, Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus. You know, it's taking over. So it's giving a lot of films. And I've been watching a lot of independent films recently too. It's some great work there as well. What else have I been watching? Snowfall. What else? I can't think of anything else right now.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Casablanca.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Casablanca. So about, I don't know when this was. It was somewhere between the last 20 years, between 2000 and maybe 2015. Somebody took the script Casablanca, changed the title. They wanted to test Hollywood because of all the shit Hollywood was releasing at the time. So it might have been late. Actually, it might have been late 90s to early 2000s. So someone took the script Casablanca, changed the title to something else. I think they went in and they changed the lead character's name, and they might have changed the location, but it was essentially the same exact script. And so they started shopping it around to studios, and one studio recognized it and they said, I see what you're doing. But a bunch of other but a bunch of other studios said, we're not interested. It's slow, it's boring. There's nothing appealing about this script. And so then, you know, the guy wrote back, you know, this is Casablanca, right? This won like a bunch of Academy Awards. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, I just took the script. I just changed the title. I changed some of the characters' names in it, and I changed the location. This is Casablanca, and you turned it down. And they're like, oh, you know, screw off. But it was like someone, you know, tried an experiment with today's Hollywood studios.
Yeah.
You know, with the script Casablanca.
Wow.
I wish I knew what year that was, but yeah, they took a digital copy of Casablanca, you know, like find all, change all, you know, lead character, the Humphrey Bogart's character, and Ingrid Bergman's character, and then I think they changed it from Casablanca was in Tunisia?
Yeah, what was it, Morocco?
Morocco.
Yeah,
Morocco.
I believe Morocco.
And I think they changed it to like, you know, some other, you know, like Germany or France or something, and then turned it in, and people just didn't want it. And it's like, look at what we're dealing with in Hollywood studio. It was kind of like this experiment. And which reminds me of another story. You know, I just watched this documentary. I don't know if I mentioned it on my show before, but I just watched this great documentary called Milius about John Milius, who directed Conan the Barbarian. He co-wrote Apocalypse Now. He did a whole bunch of huge films, you know, in the 70s, 80s. You know, the stuff he was involved in. Apocalypse Now. He worked with Oliver Stone but he's most notably known for writing and directing Conan the Barbarian. So the studio started blacklisting him. a bunch of studios started blacklisting him. And he goes, what's your deal? I want to have a sit down. I want to talk to somebody about this. And they said, okay. I said, listen, I have a great idea for you. I have a great film idea for you. And this lady sits down and says, okay. So he starts telling her this story. And halfway through him telling this story, she's like, this is just boring. I'm not interested.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, why? He's like, it's just boring. It's lame. I'm not interested. Blah, 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 blah. So, okay. So he leaves. He goes, I just told this woman the story to Macbeth, and she shot it down.
That's what I'm saying. They just don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And so, yeah, the biggest criticism with studios, I guess, is just marketability, action figures, clothing lines, merchandise, and we've gone away from the Casablancas and the Macbeths and the
storytelling.
The stories and the characters. Yeah, and I think, but I think so. That's what's interesting about Marvel, is that they really delve into their characters and their storyline and a whole universe. And what happened in Iron Man 1, was relatable, had a lot to do with what happened in Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
And what happened in Captain America, the first Avenger, what happened in Winter Soldier had a lot to do with the character development and all of these characters coming together. So it's almost like this huge, gargantuous soap opera series that if you watch every little element, it all ties in. And so not only are they banking on comic books and action figures and superheroes and toys, but it is a property, but it's also like, this ongoing character arc, story arc,
because when you watch films and to back on your point, when Marvel set the blueprint, especially when it comes to Captain America, then you had the Avengers, and then everybody had their own standalone. So instead of, everybody had their backstory, so everybody had their standalone movie. So you would see an Avengers, and then you would wonder, well, I wonder where he come from, or like if you didn't read the comics, or I wonder how his life has been or her life has been. So just them showing those standalone films is giving you another aspect into their life and why they do certain things in their family life and how that affects them. So now when they team up again in the Infinity War, you have an understanding of each different character and how they fit into this one puzzle. They set the blueprint.
Yeah.
So these films, they got to come better, but I like it because it's giving more filmmakers more and more platforms to do good work. And there's so many great independent directors and artists that many years ago couldn't really get a shot or didn't know how to put their films and stuff out there, or they just had to go through the studio system. Now they got so many different platforms that you can put your work on display.
Prime, Crackle, Shudder.
It's, oh my gosh.
Geez, what else is there? There's Tubi.
Quibi, yeah.
Quibi. Quibi's unique too because you can watch it in two different ways. It's
Apple Plus.
Yeah. There's all these different platforms to shop your product around now. Yeah.
Yeah, because it used to be, you had to go to the film festival, you had to submit your stuff here. I mean, you still do, because that's still an opportunity to, for people to see your work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's amazing how, and I feel that the cable may be dying out.
Oh yeah.
Because there's so many streaming platforms. You can literally customize the channels that you watch and just go through subscription base or get you a Roku box and cut the cable.
Mm-hmm.
Just the basic. It's crazy right now.
And now all the channels are doing apps. It's HBO Now and
Showtime,
AMC.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's AMC now, but AMC has an app. FX has an app.
It's a great thing. I mean, you can literally customize because you get you get your cable and you have like 300 channels, but you only watch probably 20 of them or 30 of them.
Right.
So you got all these channels wasted. So now you can customize, the stuff that you really watch. And then if you only watch it for one show, like I had Stars for Power, and now I don't watch Power anymore. I can, I don't need Stars unless it's another show that
right.
I hear that's good and I want to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can get it back.
Right.
So I love it.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess moving on, what would you say? What's your next agenda? Your next set of goals for, say, the next 3 to 6 months?
All right. So my goals, short-term goals, will probably be one, new headshots, which I'm getting done. That's off the list. Next, I probably would update all my online profiles, and then start auditioning more and more for co-star roles, and then work on building a team as far as a manager and agent, and just and keep submitting and keep and always training, doing workshops with different casting directors, just and building more relationships that way. Those is like, just kind of just taking everything. I kind of wrote those down. Those are my goals for the upcoming, for the rest of this year.
Yeah.
Just keep training and keep
Awesome.
honing on your skills.
Yeah. I need an agent.
Yeah.
I need an agent. That's the one thing, because the self-submitting is kicking my butt, man.
Yeah, it's a grind, man. Tell me about it. It's a grind. I mean, all I would say is just, probably go on the SAG website and check out, legit agents. And
okay.
I know one of the schools I go to, McKinnon Actor Studio, which is in Hyattsville. He has a showcase. Like he does it like every season. He'll have a fall or spring where he brings a panel of like agents and managers,
mm-hmm.
and you could come in, and I think it's like a 2-day, or I think it's a 2 or 3 day workshop where you can come in and because one day he'll have just agents, one day he'll have casting directors, and you just come in, do your same work, and they get paperwork on you, and they get your headshot resume, and then if they like your work, they'll you can hand out your cards and everything, and just talk to them and build relationships, email based and stuff like that. So right now, I mean, it's just get your stuff out there, put your work out there, and just submit to different agencies and try to get some general meetings. Luckily for me, I'm able to kind of travel a little bit, but not right now. But once it's open back up, I kind of travel a little bit and go to different studios and just get some generals. But you just keep submitting. I would just say keep submitting, because even when you get an agent and stuff like that, you still got to probably submit on your own. It's not just gonna be them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Especially in this market. I mean, I know a couple other actors. They have an agent, they have a manager, and but they also still self-submit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's because you just want to cover all bases. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're probably focused. Well, until you become in the union. Like right now, I'm just working on, my steps to probably join the SAG-AFTRA union, as far as, working on union projects and things of that nature. But, they may be submitting you for all union work. Right. And while you're, going to auditioning for that, co-star, guest star roles, and stuff like that, you can also, commercials, you can also still submit for non-union work until you become union. So you can kind of get both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing. So that's my focus on. Hopefully I can get a manager or an agent, because I don't have an agent as well, but I'm still still hustling and busting.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I mean, yeah. I'm not self-submitting right now, obviously, because, there's very few things. Sometimes I get a blip from about this, that, the other, this gig's going on or that gig's going on. And I might self-submit a couple of things here and there, but I'm not trying to like, I'm still social distancing. I'm still quarantining. I'm still, trying to play it safe. I've got plenty of virtual gigs and telework gigs that are the main the main source of income. And then I'm doing a lot of the passion projects, a lot of live streaming and some documentaries and some web series and things of that nature that are filling in those gaps. I don't. So right now, I'm just gonna, like you're doing, maybe, do some seminars, do some courses online, and sharpen the skills, keep the tools sharp. But as far as going on set, I don't think we as the production world are ready for that just yet.
No, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot. It's still going to be tricky to pull that off, and I'm gonna play it. Maybe I'm just playing it a little too safe, but yeah, I think I'm gonna.
Yeah, because you guys are, especially with the crew, as hard as you guys work. Because I know on the film we did, man, you guys were all over the place. So I know how hard you guys work, and y'all around each other so much. So as far as I don't know what they're going to do as far as crew, because actors, we can kind of just step off in our own little world, and but you guys are setting up for this shot, and you're getting everything straight time and everything. So I just don't know they were saying, the studios were saying like September, but I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean the news, with all the current updates with the COVID. I don't see it being September. I see it being next September, not this September. Yeah, it could be September of 2022, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, we all want to get back to work, but we just don't know. We got to have things in place on how can we keep everyone safe, and that take it back home to your family and stuff like that. So it's just I don't know. Nobody knows right now. All you can do is just continue to train and work on other projects right now. Yeah,
I love set life. I know, but I'm not going on set until at least there's a vaccine. So what would you say? What would you say your ideas are for the new normal? What are some things that come to mind for the new
as far as like the industry, or as far as just like everyday life, or
both?
I guess right now I just feel like the new normal is going to be self-submissions as far as auditioning. Now virtual. when it comes to like set life, they probably just going to have everybody secluded and just going to have the essential personnel, cut the casting down, just going to have minimal people on set. It's probably going to be more sound stage than destination. Maybe I'm not sure how they, or maybe that's, I don't know. I'm not sure. As far as classes and everything, Zoom is probably going to be the way to go for right now. Zoom, but
just everything virtual for the next year.
Yeah, I just got a feeling it's just everything's just going to be virtual. I was excited to get into that class in New York to actually go into the building and do that stuff, but it's just not in the plans right now. And I think everything virtual is going to be like the new norm, like virtual everything, as far as classes, as far as I don't know. It's meetings, everything is just going to be virtual. It's just how can you film right now? It's I don't know. Yeah, that's probably the new norm. Everything virtual.
True. Yeah, I mean, there was a number of gigs that got canceled for me in March and April. I had like a week-long gig in Montreal. I've never been to Canada. I was so excited to go to Montreal of all places. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Montreal is the capital of is that the nation's capital of Canada or something? or it's one of the main. It's one of the main.
It's one of the main cities. That, and I think Montreal. Yeah, one of them is the main city. Yeah.
Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. And so I was really excited. But next thing I know, it's July now. I've had so much virtual work, telework. It's safe. I'm chilling. I'll go from work to work out, and then play with the kid. And when the kid goes to sleep, play some video games, watch a movie with the wife, and that's the day. And and I got a lot of colleagues that are like, man, I don't want that work from home life. I'm like, hey, listen, it's not for everybody. I want to be on set just as much as anybody else, but considering all the circumstances, it's very chill. It's very, and for me, it's easier. I'm able to get as much. I'm able to get as much content. I can get just as much writing, some screenwriting and some project prepping and shot listing and other things of that nature done way quicker here because I'm working from home, and I can hands-on with the kid and working out just as much. Maybe not as much as I was before, but it's man. I mean, for me, I like it. But
that cabin fever gets to people.
Yeah, it does. It hasn't for us, but it does. And I have my outlets. The wife has her outlets, and then we come together and we're with the kid a lot, and we have the husband and wife time. We'll do some dinners on the deck. Some wine. There's a vineyard down the street that set up a whole social distancing, so everything's very far apart. And we've gone there a couple of times, and it's just in a huge field. And I mean, we find our outlets, and we find our times to spend together and times to spend apart, and it works out. And like you said, virtual. Everything's gonna be virtual. Everything's gonna be social media, as opposed to social distancing and social media and virtual, this, that, and the other thing.
From now on.
Yeah. What's one, as we close out, what's one last point or bit of advice that you would have for our viewers?
So one, whatever your passion is, whatever your goals are, I think now is the time for you to kind of just put all feet forward on the ground and just hit it. Just set up a plan and attack it. Because right now is the time that a lot of us have so much downtime. And if you're an actor or a director or anything in the industry, or just anything in any industry, or whatever you want to do in your life, just hit it. Write down your plan, set goals for yourself. And now is the time for time management. Just set things in your phone, or set reminders. And this is the perfect time to teach yourself, program yourself how to build your schedule and to have a routine, because everything is in a routine and everything you do. So I would just say set a routine and go for your dreams, and whatever you got to do, just go for it.
Absolutely. Well, Greg, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. Any social links, plugs, socials you want to put out there?
All right. So if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it's actor _ Greg Townsend. And as far as my Actors Access account, if you want to just see my profile, any cast directors, anybody in the industry looking, it's actoraccess.com/Greg Townsend.
All right. No, go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's it. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
Well, you heard it here. Greg Townsend, Actors Access, Instagram. Can't thank you enough for joining me. I can't wait to get back on set. Hope to see you on set on one of those crime shows or a new film or something. Hope to work with you again soon. And well, thanks for coming on the show. I can't thank you enough. It was good talk. We got pretty serious. a little bit, but
Yeah.
is mostly fun, enlightening stuff. A lot of film stuff. So to my viewers out there, like, subscribe, share, comment, ring that bell for notifications if you want to get more stuff from us. I hope you liked it. Like, subscribe, share, comment, thumbs up if you liked it. Ring the bell for notifications, and check us out next time.